A puppy named Bax lives on a green and beautiful countryside farm, where every day is a real adventure for him. He dreams of becoming a real detective and starts his journey searching for new mysteries. Every morning, looking up at the blue sky and feeling the warm sun on his fur, Bax joyfully begins his day. He wanders through the green and fresh grass, talking with his friends on the farm, the rooster, who crows happily every time Bax passes by, the cow who contentedly chews grass in the meadow, and the little chicks who comically run after him. Wilbury the pig is Bax's best friend. She's always ready to join Bax's adventure, although sometimes she likes to simply lie down and sunbathe. "Oh, Bax, I'm so glad I'm with you today. I'll be your best helper," exclaims Wilbury. In an endless search for new mysteries and adventures, Bax begins to explore the farm animals. He watches their behavior, studies their habits and peculiarities, trying to solve any mysteries that may arise on the farm. What are these strange tracks on the ground? And where do they lead? Bax wonders, examining the small paw prints leading to the fence. He decides to follow the trail, and Wilbury, not wanting to be left behind, soon joins him. Thus begins our story, full of adventures and mysteries. As Bax examines the tracks on the ground, he accidentally finds himself in a labyrinth made of hay. The wind caresses his fur, seeping through the gaps between the hay bales. Bax looks around, trying to understand how he ended up here. In the distance, birdsong can be heard, and the scent of freshly cut grass fills the air. "Hey, Wilbury! Can you hear me?" Bax shouts, but his pig friend is nowhere to be found. Bax decides that he'll have to find his way out of the maze on his own. Bax makes his way along the winding paths of the labyrinth, and the hay walls seem endless to him. From time to time, he comes across bright red butterflies that fly off in different directions as he approaches them. The sky is clear and blue, and the sun shines brightly through the gaps between the hay bales. "How can I get out of here?" Bax sighs, feeling his anxiety grow. Suddenly, he notices a candy wrapper shimmering on the ground. Who could have left this here? The puppy wonders. Bax decides to go further into the maze, hoping to find out who left the candy wrapper and who created this labyrinth. As Bax continues onward, the wind starts to pick up, and he can hear the distant rustling of leaves on the trees outside the maze. The wind whistles in the puppy's ears, and dust rises from the ground, making it difficult to breathe. Bax coughs and rubs his eyes, but continues to move forward, determined to find answers. Soon, the puppy noticed another candy wrapper. "I'm on the right track," he thought, feeling his hope grow that he would be able to escape the maze and find its creator. Bax continued to follow the trail of candy wrappers, and with each step, his determination grew stronger. Dry grass rustled under the puppy's feet, and the splashing of water in a pond nearby the farm could be heard in the distance. Bax caught a faint scent of honey coming from a small swarm of bees, collecting nectar at the edge of the maze. Suddenly, at the end of the maze, Bax saw a little girl in a straw hat. She seemed lost and frightened. Bax approached her and said, "Hi, I'm Bax. I'll help you. Are you lost in this maze?" The girl nodded, and her eyes filled with tears. "I'm Maggie. I was looking for my kitten, Flanky, and suddenly found myself here. I'm so scared that I'll never get out of here." "Don't worry, Maggie. I'm here to help you, and we'll get out of this maze together," Bax reassured her. Together, they continued down the path until they reached the exit of the maze. The sun was setting on the horizon. coloring the sky in bright shades of orange and pink. Maggie hugged Bax and beamed with happiness. "Thank you, Bax. You're a real hero and a great detective." Bax smiled and winked. "It was the adventure I was craving. Now let's find your kitten, Flanky." Bax and Maggie set out to search for Flanky the kitten, deciding to start at the place where Maggie last saw him. They headed for a barn at the edge of the farm. The sun touched the horizon, and the sky slowly turned into a warm palette of colors. Near the barn, Bax noticed cat paw prints. He sniffed them, determining the direction in which Flanky had gone. "Maggie, the kitten went this way. Let's go. I'm sure we'll find him soon," Bax said. Maggie nodded, and together they followed the trail. They walked past an old fence covered in moss, and beyond it a forest loomed, absorbing the last rays of the setting sun. In the distance, the chirping of birds returning to their roost could be heard, along with the rustling of leaves in the wind. Soon they saw Flanky sitting on a tree branch. It was clear that the kitten was scared and couldn't get down to the ground on his own. Bax approached the tree and said, "Flanky, don't be afraid. We'll save you. Maggie, please find something for me to climb on so I can reach the branch and help the kitten." Maggie quickly scanned the surroundings and found a suitable branch, which she handed to Bax. The puppy took it in his teeth and carefully brought it up to the kitten. "Flanky, grab onto the branch and I'll lower you to the ground," Bax shouted. The kitten cautiously wrapped his paws around the branch, and Bax carefully lowered him to the ground. Flanky purred gratefully, hugging his rescuers, Maggie and Bax. "Thank you, Bax and Maggie, you're real heroes," said Flanky, happy and grateful. "You're welcome, Flanky. We're always ready to help our friends," Bax replied, smiling. "Yes, but how did you end up on a branch with the chicks?" he asked, looking at the kitten curiously. Flanky looked up at the sky, where the chicks were flying, and began to explain. "Well, I decided to catch one of the birds to show my cat friends how fast and agile I am. But when I climbed the tree, the birds turned out to be smarter than I thought. They tricked me and made me climb a very high branch. In the end, I realized that I couldn't get down." Bax nodded, understanding that the kitten got into trouble because of his bravery and curiosity. "Well, now you know that sometimes it's better to be cautious and not try to do something that might be dangerous," he advised Flanky. Flanky nodded, accepting the lesson Bax had given him. "You're right, Bax. I'll be more careful in the future. Thank you both again for your help." With that, Bax, Maggie, and Flanky headed back to the farm, rejoicing that they could be together again and enjoy their life in the vast countryside. The wind gently touched their fur, and they knew that peace and tranquility were returning to their hearts. After Bax, Maggie, and Flanky returned to the farm, Bax decided to ask the girl who lived on the farm if she knew who had created the hay maze. "Do you happen to know who created the maze?" Bax asked. The girl smiled and nodded. "Of course I know. I created it myself." Bax was very surprised. "You? But why?" Bax asked. "I wanted to do something special and fun for all the animals on the farm," the girl explained. "I thought a hay maze would be an interesting place to play and have fun, but I didn't think anyone could get lost or in trouble." Bax smiled and shook his head. "Don't worry. Now we know that you created the maze with good intentions. Thank you for making our life on the farm even more interesting." They all laughed and enjoyed the cheerful stories, and life on the farm became even brighter and happier, thanks to the friendship and adventures that awaited them ahead.